So you interview a lot of family business
Yeah.
family business owners. That's right. And so you've probably had, heard a lot of different types of cultures within family businesses. But would you say it's normal on average, your family business typically has like a longer employees stay with the business longer than maybe your corporate jobs?
100%, 100%. There's a statistic that runs around through the family business world that says, it goes back to shirt sleeves in 3 generations, right? And so it's like, the first generation starts it, the second generation manages it, and the third generation loses it. And that's and so here I am talking to you right now, but it's
Yeah.
it's what I think it's like 3% make it into the fourth generation.
Yeah.
Make it through. And
That's
so
right.
but at the end of the day, so if you think about that in terms of generations, the business you're running is about when was it started again?
1977.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going on almost 50 years old.
Yeah.
The average company that goes through the stock market isn't 50 years old.
That's right.
And so we talk about this horrible statistic of only 3% make it, and it's the doom and gloom, and the real simple reason is just there's a lack of communication. As the generation starts to get further and further out, you go into the cousin generation, which is where you're going into now.
Yeah.
The trust isn't the same because we grew up in different households. Communication starts to break down. And when you have communication, just exactly what you and I started this whole conversation with. When you start with trust and you have good communication, you can make it through anything.
That's right. Yeah, it's actually funny you bring up that statistic around the time my grandpa and I were talking about me taking over as the president. I was like, the odds are against me. It's more likely that I'm going to fail than succeed. And he had a lot of trust, so I felt pretty
and what I think that you're by noticing that, and they call it governance, and all corporate governance is how do we make decisions, right? Family governance is how do we make decisions as a family, and with 3 different main shareholders, the big thing is, do we have rules in place so that when we get to a point where maybe somebody wants to go in a different direction than everybody else, everything's always good until it isn't.
Yeah.
And so buy-sell agreements and succession plans, you can always flush them if everybody agrees. And that's the part that everybody forgets, in my opinion, is that just because you have a succession plan, just because you have, a really well-defined buy-sell agreement of how you're going to do things, you can always flush it if you choose to do that together.
Exactly. Nothing's written in stone. There's a lot of iterations on things like this. As years go on, things change. Time horizons for individuals change in terms of their retirement planning, and even not such at an ownership level, but just thinking back to the pandemic and agreements we had with customers and suppliers. On the supplier side, some of these just-in-time inventory programs or these stocking programs that we had in place, evaporated. This material didn't exist. So, how are you going to say, hey, well, we had this agreement in place? Well, it's not there anymore. So things change in business all the time, and better to at least have something to lean on than nothing.